Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 13-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. Keep an eye out for my Thursday night football video. That'll be up after this, breaking down that showdown slate. If you guys are unable to watch these videos, they're also upload on Apple Podcasts. The link is down below. It's called the DK DFS Show. And if you're interested in signing up for premium content, now is the perfect time, beginning of the month, for NFL and NBA package to cover the main and the showdown slates. The sponsor of the video is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a player prop site where you can pick 2 to 5 players and win up to 10 extra money. It's player props. Again, you're taking over-under on, for NBA, you can go to over-under fantasy points or over-under on points, assists, rebounds. So the three-pointers made. They have a lot of different ways you can play for basketball. They also have college sports, NFL, basically every sport you can think of. You can mix and match too. So you can have like a couple from NBA, a couple from NFL if you'd want. So if you guys want to try out PrizePicks, make sure to sign up and use my code DKDFS. It's DKDFS, all one word. You get a 100% match up to $100. So basically, if you deposit, first-time user on PrizePicks using my code $100, you get a free $100 to play with on the site. And finally, as always, I want to thank you guys for all of your support. Everyone coming to check out the live stream today hit about 100, almost 200 concurrent viewers. So really appreciate all you guys. Again, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And last, I want to say I am actually going out of the country for the next few days. I'll be back on Monday, going to Mexico with my family. So you're not going to be seeing YouTube videos. Patreon members, don't worry. I'll still have content, and I'll make a post about it over there. But next few days, guys, no videos or live streams. I will be back Monday, so videos and live streams should return Tuesday. So just FYI there. All right. Let's take a look back lineup here from tonight. Steve Nash. Steve Nash. Pretty cool guy. Pretty cool coach. Nice, reliable rotations. So, you guys ready for story time? Let me tell you a story. I've played Lamarcus Aldridge twice this year. The first time was at opening night at like 5% ownership when he was like 3.5K. I'm sure you guys saw what happened. Well, if you didn't and you don't recall it, he looked like he didn't belong in a basketball court. An absolute massive bust. He had like 5 fantasy points. Just didn't look like he belonged in a basketball court. So, played him tonight because, great price, 5.7. He's been closing every single game. There's no worry about that. Since Aldridge has been in the starting lineup, he's playing 32 to 34 minutes. And Aldridge, he was playing really well. This is not like Aldridge was struggling from the field. He's just knocking down those mid-range J's. That's his game. He's just hitting everything, looking good out there. In 23 minutes of action, had 22 fantasy points. I'm going to the fourth quarter. I'm like, all right, Aldridge going to give me a pretty good day, maybe like 30 to 35 fantasy points. Happy. I will definitely take it. It's not what happened, guys. It's not what happened. Nicholas Claxton, they closed with. Again, let me just show you. Let me just show you Aldridge's stat lines here. 29, 28, 32, 34, 33 minutes. I buy in finally. Randomly doesn't close 23 minutes, even though he was playing well. A 2v2 swap I made before lock. Not ideal. I had Emmanuel Quickley and Josh Richardson. I swapped to D Rose and Lonnie Walker. Now, had I known what the ownership was going to be here, I would not have made that swap at all because IQ was like unowned and Josh Richardson in this tournament 5%. Whereas Lonnie Walker, 43% owned. And I told you guys, okay, you cannot trust Popovich, right? So first of all, there's no Devin Vassell. And I've been through this many times. You would think Lonnie Walker plays more minutes. Greg Popovich, no. Or, how about this? Keldon Johnson, injured. If you play Keldon, that's really bad luck. But, okay, Keldon got Johnson back and forth probably like 8 times in the locker room. Finally finished. Like, just sit him down. He's clearly not healthy, okay? That's another story. But Lonnie Walker plays relatively the same position. On the wing, okay, hey, that's more minutes for Lonnie Walker. So what does Greg Popovich do? Nah. Let's dust off Keita Bates-Diop. Not even in the rotation. Dust him off and play him a ton of minutes. And again, you would have thought Lonnie Walker would have played more minutes tonight. And I warned people, and I went to him anyway. And he played like 17 minutes. They played Bryn Forbes more minutes. So had I kept IQ and Josh Richardson, probably would be having a really solid night. Now, I'm still on the money line in tournaments, but we'll see how it finishes. The rest of my lineup, Luka Doncic was fine. Had a strong first half, kind of cooled off in the second half. That Porzingis start in the first quarter, I was so tilted. He was on pace for a triple-double at halftime. I was so tilted about that. Luckily, he cooled off a little bit. He still had a good game. James Johnson came through for me. That was one I was a little bit nervous about because of Steve Nash's rotations. But luckily, James Johnson had a really good game there. Schroeder, Tatum, Pirtle, all chalk, all smashing. But yeah, no surprise. I was eating the chalk with those guys. So that's it for the look back, guys. Right now, it's on the money line. We'll see if I can maybe min cash in tournaments. But let's take a look at the winning lineup right now. In the Thunderdome. So Thunderdome, well, a lot of busts everywhere. So I'll just go over some ownership. DeJounte Murray, he was low owned. He was a bust. Lonnie Walker, 60+% owned. Massive bust. LeBron James got a little bit of ownership. He had a fine first half. Again, Tatum the chalk, no surprise at all. Schroeder the chalk too. Complete sense, right, without Jaylen Brown. Malik Monk got a little bit of ownership. Let's see, what else was there? And we talked about the Lonnie Walker ownership. Brunson got a little bit of ownership, about 40% in the Thunderdome. Again, this is a $5,300 entry. Brunson, massive bust. Let's see, what else? Keldon Johnson got ownership, injured. So just snowflakes. Evan Fournier, 40%. Told you guys, you cannot trust. Like the Knicks guys are outside of Randall, just all tournament plays. You can't trust anyone. So Fournier got a good amount of ownership. Rose, good amount of ownership. Both bust. It was the random R.J. Barrett ceiling game. And this is currently the winning lineup right now with Harden, Lonnie Walker, DFS, Keldon Johnson, who's injured, Pirtle, Fournier, Tatum, and Smart is currently winning the Thunderdome. So just one of those nights where a ton of landmines. And if you avoided a lot of these chalkier plays, landmines, you're probably in pretty good shape. But yeah, guys, that is it for the look back. So let's talk about this 13-game slate. I'm going to go a little bit quicker since we have so many games to talk about. So first, Philly-Charlotte. I stacked this game last slate. Luckily, went to overtime. Ended up winning a GPP because of it. So, this game looks appealing again, but not as appealing as last slate when they're a lot cheaper. So Joel Embiid, I love targeting bigs against the Hornets. Should be able to feast here against Richards, undersized PJ Washington, whatever JT Thor is. Embiid looks like a pretty solid spend up. The only downside is the price, now to almost $12K. He's definitely a tournament-only option, even though I like him in this spot. Tobias feels priced about right at 7.6. Tyrese Maxey at 6.7. Keep an eye on this. He's currently questionable. If he can't go, would make Shake Milton a pretty good value play there at 4.6. All right, moving on to Charlotte. So finally, these guys got priced up. Bridges, Hayward, Oubre, all 7K plus. So Bridges was the one letdown last game, but he's going to play massive minutes. Hayward, they started him at the point guard, shot 5 of 19. I actually don't hate Hayward. Like, if he has a decent shooting game, he has a much better game last game. So the price up, I think ownership will be low, but I kind of have some interest in Gordon Hayward. Oubre's been phenomenal last couple games, 40 and then a 58 bomb last slate. Now, he did shoot really well. He also had 4 steals and 1 block. That's probably not going to happen again, but he's still playable. PJ Washington, if he can stay out of foul trouble, looks like a decent option. However, you guys know the drill with him, right? He's very, very prone to foul trouble. Now the price is up to a point where, like, if he gets an early foul trouble, you're probably dead. Cody Martin, assuming he starts again, I think is a pretty safe play in the mid-range. We probably get 35-plus minutes from him. He had not the best game, but I like the price there. I mean, these guys, like, the secondary options here, like James Bouknight, sure, you can take a shot on him. He played 22 minutes. Again, JT Thor got minutes, but I don't think I can stomach that. Nick Richards at 3.3 did play a little bit more. He played 18 minutes. You can take a dart on him on a large slate, but really outside below Cody Martin, there's nothing I trust. Chicago and Cleveland, so no DeRozan, but the price way up on the main guys. Levine at 10.5, I'm just not paying that price for him. Vooch at 9.5 feels priced about right. Lonzo probably my favorite stud on Chicago. I think he plays, about 40 minutes, a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. So I don't mind Lonzo. And then we have some value we got to talk about here. So again, no DeRozan, no Caruso, no Kobe White, no Javonte Green, no Patrick Williams. So let's start with Derrick Jones Jr., who started 4.3K, played 28 minutes, was in a little bit of foul trouble. I think he's a decent value play. Not a great offensive player, but a decent rebounder, can get those peripheral stats. I think he's a fair value. And then Io started and played 42 minutes. That game did not go to overtime. 42 minutes for Io. Assuming he starts again, I like him for value. I think last game was a little bit of an outlier performance, but he's still super, super cheap. So have interest there. And then Troy Brown at 3.3. Is a decent offensive player. He played 24 minutes. I think he's in play if you want to get different. I think Io and Derrick Jones Jr. get a good amount of ownership. If you're building a chalkier lineup, just go to Troy Brown at much lower ownership. All right, Cleveland. So Jared Allen, 8.2K. He's probably going to play 35-plus minutes. I think feels priced about right. Darius Garland, 7.7, had an off game last game. He's been a little bit up and down. The ceiling is there for him. Mobley, kind of like the price at 6.4. If he stays out of foul trouble, we probably get 35-ish minutes from him. So do like the price of Mobley, and I like the price of Markkanen too. 36, 35, 34 minutes the last 3 games. I think Mobley and Markkanen look the best for the salary. And I don't even mind Ricky Rubio at 5.4. Like, he's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. The guy can stuff the stat sheet, and he's probably not going to kill you. Like, he does have some upside. He's probably has a floor of like 25-ish fantasy points with upside, so a little bit of interest there. And then Kevin Love as a GBP option is viable. We'll probably get somewhere around 18 to 22 minutes from him. He's been productive. He's gone for 20-plus fantasy points for the last 5 games. So, he's viable for GBPs. Washington, Detroit. So Washington, one fully healthy, just a team I don't have a ton of interest in. The guys that do kind of look good here are the bigs and Harrell and Gafford. They're most likely going to split the center minutes. Gafford, if he can stay out of foul trouble, probably plays low to mid-20s. And then Harrell will probably get like mid-20s minutes from him as well. So I think the 2 bigs look decent. Like Dinwiddie, the price has come down to a playable point. He's been really bad, but only 5.5 for a guy that probably plays about 30 minutes is viable. Same with Kuzma, 5.7. Like, it does feel like a relatively cheap price. So I guess a little bit of interest in those two because the price points. KCP revenge game, if you guys are into that, he's going to play close to 30 minutes, but he's very, very reliant on the scoring. Moving on to Detroit. So Cade Cunningham had a pretty nice game last game, went for a 50 bomb against the Thunder. He's going to play big minutes. He can stuff the stat sheet, so I think he's a fine contrarian play in the mid-range. Jeremy Grant, almost 8K, I'm probably going to pass on. Stewart feels priced about right. Bay feels priced about right. Killian Hayes at 4.4. We probably get close to 30 minutes from him. I think he's a fair value. Still has a low floor. And one guy I'll mention is a complete dart throw in tournaments is Saben Lee. So just keep an eye on Corey Joseph news. Corey Joseph's probable, unfortunately. So I guess Saben Lee's out of play. If Corey Joseph would have been out, Saben Lee would have been in play for value because he would have played the backup point probably around 20 minutes. But with Corey Joseph back, that probably means Saben Lee is going to go back to the bench or back to the G League. So Knicks and Pacers, here we go again. We just saw the Knicks. Randall, 10K. Fine. Feels a little bit overpriced. And then we get the secondary option. So I'm sure you saw what happened tonight. RJ Barrett, I don't think they have it up, but he had a massive ceiling game, so he's probably going to be the chalk. If he gets a lot of ownership tomorrow, I am fading and not thinking twice about it because he has a very low floor and people are going to chase that game. I'm not saying he's an awful play, but he's definitely going to be over-owned. Let me just bring up the stats since Draftkings doesn't have it up right now. So I'm just curious what the minutes were for these guys. But as I said, Tom Thibodeau's going to go with the hot hand. So a lot of people chased Fournier last game, and I warned them. I was like, hey, there's a chance he only plays like low 20s minutes. And sure enough, Fournier only played 21. So Randall, 35. Noel started, played 26. Robinson off the bench. Well, apparently he didn't like getting benched. He smashed off the bench in 22 minutes. Burks played 36 minutes. Fournier, 21. Barrett, 39 minutes. Toppin, 13. Rose, 22. And Quickly, 26. So it's like this combination of Burks, Barrett, Rose, Quickly, all in play for tournaments. And Fournier, but no one that I feel amazing about. Noel probably starts again and plays mid-20s minutes, playable value. If you want to go to Robinson off the bench, you can, but I think I'd rather go to Noel. On the Pacers side, not a ton, honestly. Sabonis, Brogdon feel a little bit overpriced. Miles Turner at 6'1", doesn't really stand out. LeVert at 5'9", probably does play over 30 minutes. I guess it's okay. Duarte, he's played some pretty solid minutes besides last game. But I would think he goes back to 30 minutes or so. So Yeah, Pacers are a team not super appealing. Milwaukee and Miami. So Milwaukee, Giannis Antetokounmpo 11-6. I do think makes for a pretty decent spend up. No Jimmy Butler, no Bam on the Miami side, so he should be able to feast. The only real worry here is potential for a blowout, but I do like Giannis. Drew Milton Portis a little bit overpriced from when Giannis was out. And then the last guy I'll mention here is Boogie Cousins, 3.7K. He played 18 minutes last game against the Cavs. He's a good point per minute guy. I think he's an intriguing contrarian value play. On the Miami side, so no Jimmy, no Bam. Well, this is going to be, again, this is a tough one because there's a lot of blowout risk, but if they can keep the game competitive, you know why. It's Lowry and Hero. I like them both a good amount. The only real concern here is they get just destroyed. But yeah, these are going to be the two guys that, if in a competitive game, probably play 35-plus minutes. I like them both. I think Dedmon probably plays, against this Milwaukee front court, probably 25-plus minutes. I think he's a pretty decent value play. You guys know the drill. Duncan Robinson, he's probably going to get 25 to 30 minutes. Has to hit his shots to get value. Gabe Vincent off the bench should get a decent run. He's played relatively well. Max Struss at 3.8, probably going to have to play some pretty big minutes. I think he's in play for value. PJ Tucker should play, 30 minutes. They need his defense out there. He's only 3.2. We also have Caleb Martin questionable, so there could be one less body in this rotation. And one other guy I want to mention here is Omer Goat7. Yeah, he's actually been getting minutes last 3 games. 19 here against the Pacers in a somewhat competitive game. 23 in a blowout, sure. But yeah, 17 here in a somewhat competitive game. Like, Yurt 7 is a good point per minute guy. He was a guy we were just plugging and playing in Summer League. So if he's going to continue to play the backup 5 role and play close to 20 minutes, I think he's a decent value. And if Caleb Martin's out, I just don't know what they're probably going to have to dust off KZ Okpala for minutes. This team is so thin right now. All right, OKC and Toronto. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the top at 8.6K. In play for tournaments. Did have 13 assists last game. That's definitely an outlier. He hasn't been handling the ball as much with Josh Giddey in the lineup. But he is the guy that the Thunder want to keep the game close. It's going to be because of him. Giddey feels priced about right. I just can't deal with the secondary options here on OKC on a 13-game slate. I'm just not doing it. Toronto, so the positive here with Van Fleet and Siakam is the minutes, but the price points are up. Scotty Barnes at 8.1 is too pricey for me. Gary Trent Jr. 6'2", also going to play big minutes, is reliant on the scoring, though. The guy that probably looks the best to me is Precious Achiuwa. He had 2 awful games here against Memphis and Boston, went for 17 and 10 fantasy points, but has picked up a bit, 24-33 last couple games. He's a decent rebounder, can block some shots. It's a good matchup against the Thunder, so I think Achiuwa probably my favorite play here on Toronto. All right, Brooklyn and Houston. So this game has some blowout risk, but KD, Harden obviously have upside if the Rockets can keep the game competitive. Aldridge, well, who knows? Again, I finally buy in. He doesn't close. So if I knew Aldridge was going to play 32 to 34 minutes, I would really like him here. I'm not sure if he's going to do it, right? Because they closed Nick Claxton at 3-2. So if you want to take a shot on a really cheap Nick Claxton, you can go for it. But again, all I'm saying is you cannot trust Steve Nash. James Johnson came through for me tonight, but I would not be surprised if he plays 10 minutes tomorrow. So there's just nothing you're going to feel great about for the Nets, really. Moving on to Houston. Christian Wood, 9.8. If they're going to keep it competitive, probably because of Wood. But this price point just feels a little bit too much for me. Jay Sean Tate at almost 7K also feels about right. Eric Gordon, last game to start him at the point. He played 33 minutes. I think he's a fair play, especially if he's going to start at the point guard position. Garrison Matthews, 4.6. He's going to play probably about 30 minutes. He's pretty reliant on the scoring, though, so does have a low floor. We all thought Armani Brooks was going to start last game. Nope, they started Daniel Tice at the flat min price. Daniel Tice played only 17 minutes, but if he starts again, you can go there because he's the flat min. Now, if Armani Brooks starts, I would like him a good amount. So keep an eye on that starting lineup. Dallas and Memphis, so keep an eye if they rest maybe Luka or Porzingis in a back-to-back. Maybe Porzingis rests here. We'll see, coming off the injury. But yeah, assuming they both play, I think Luka's a decent spend up if you have enough value you feel comfortable with. It's a decent spot here. He's going to play big minutes. The rest of Dallas should just stay away from me unless one of Luka or Porzingis sit. On the Memphis side, so Triple J, Bane, Brooks, all have upside, but have all shown a pretty low floor too. So this is just a weird team. Triple J at 7K, again, in play for tournaments. Desmond Bane's probably been their best player the last week or so. Price is ticking up on him, 6.5K, but he's gone for 40 plus the last couple games. He is for sure viable. I'm not sure if he continues to play this well, though. Dylan Brooks, you guys know what I'm going to say. He shot 21 times last game, so the ceiling's there. The floor is low, though, if he's not hitting his shots. He will shoot, though. That's a positive. Now, Tyus Jones at 5'7". I do think is a pretty safe play. In competitive games, last 34, 34, and 32 minutes, the guy can stuff the stat sheet. So I like Tyus Jones at 5'7". Steven Adams is getting a little bit more run, 27, 31 minutes last couple games. He's a decent point per minute guy. So assuming we still get about 30 minutes from Adams, I think he's a fair value. Melton off the bench at 4-5, probably gets low to mid-20s minutes. He'll be productive when he's out there, so he's a decent contrarian value play. And then Clark is out. Slow-mo is doubtful, so we're probably going to get some backup center run for Xavier Tillman at 3-4, a pretty productive player. So in a large field tournament, I think he's in play. Utah, Minnesota, not a ton of love here. I think Mitchell at 8-7 stands out the most. 45 plus fantasy points now in the last 4 games. And this is a good spot. So Mitchell, probably my favorite option here. Gobert at 8-5. Going to need him against Cat, who most likely plays, but the price doesn't stand out there for Gobert. The rest of Utah are just secondary plays. Just never anyone stands out. This team is so boring. Conley probably gets about 30 minutes. I guess he'd be my favorite option. But Bogdanovich, Clarkson, O'Neal, Gay, Ingles, sure, O'Neal and Gay are fine values. O'Neal is going to play big minutes, probably low 30s. It's just a boring team. I hate seeing the Jazz on a slate. On the Timberwolves, so D'Angelo Russell, once again, not expected to play. I had a 200-point lead in best ball for the first month and a half, 2 months, whatever it was. And now I have no John Morant, no Devin Booker, and no D'Angelo Russell. Cat at 10-8, I'm just not paying that price for him, especially against the Jazz. Ant-Man, 8-4, is going to get a usage bump here without D'Angelo Russell. I think he's a decent option. However, he is let down in a lot of spots like this. But yeah, if they want to keep the game competitive, probably Ant-Man's going to have to really step it up. And we do have Pat Beverly most likely coming back, so we don't have to deal with Leandro Balmaro, who should be sent to the G League immediately. But yeah, Pat Beverly is, assuming no limitations, I think he's a decent value. So monitor this news. And then if for some reason Cat doesn't play, obviously Naz Reid becomes a great value, but I would expect Cat to play. Denver and the Pelicans, so Nikola Jokic at 11-9. Love the spot here. He's going to play big minutes. Has a high floor, high ceiling. I think he makes her a very, very safe spend up. The rest of Denver, just no one really stands out to me. I think Campazzo's a fine contrarian value play, but just a boring, not really boring team, but just no one else that stands out when Jokic plays. On the Pelican side, Ingram's played really well last couple of games. Should play big minutes. The price is up on him. That's the only downside. Valanciunas at 8-4. He probably plays 32 to 34 minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble. So if you wanted to pair JV and Jokic together in a tournament, I don't think it's the worst idea. Josh Hart didn't practice, but they expect him to go through shoot around. If he plays, I think he's a pretty safe value guy that can stuff the stat sheet, except for when I play him and he goes for 7 points and 2 rebounds. Graham, NAW, large field tournament plays, sure. Herbert Jones is now priced up, so I'm probably not going to go there. Portland and Golden State. So here we go. This game obviously has massive blood risk. No Dame, no CJ, Cody Zeller questionable, Nasir Little questionable, Anthony Simons questionable. They have everyone out. Those questionable guys can't play. They might only have 8 available players. So obviously this game has a massive blowout risk, but if all the questionable guys are out, Dennis Smith Jr., I like a good amount here. 37, 39 minutes last couple games. He's a good point per minute guy. So if they want any chance of keeping this game close, DSJ's going to have a big game. And my boy, Yusuf Nurkic, is going to have to go off tomorrow if Portland wants any chance. Probably plays 30-plus minutes. So those two make for good tournament plays. Norman Powell, 4.8K. He played 44 minutes last game. 44 in regulation. So at 4.8, I think he's a decent value. Larry Nance probably have to play big minutes. He played 32 minutes last game. He's okay. Robert Covington is playing big minutes. He's a decent value. Tony Snell's probably going to have to play a lot of minutes here. But God, Tony Snell. I don't think I can stomach that. Again, if there's no Simons, no Little, and Cody Zeller, who is going to be in this rotation, right? Nurkic 1, DSJ 2, Powell 3, Nance 4, Covington 5, Tony Snell 6. All right. Well, Ben McLemore got injured last game, so he's also questionable. They had to dust off CJ Ellaby. When you're playing CJ Ellaby minutes, that is not good. We'll see how many players they're going to have available, but Belvins, Watford, these guys might get some minutes. So, yeah, keep an eye on the status of all those questionable guys. Now, if all the questionable guys are in, then Simons most likely starts, and he would be the guy that if they want any chance of keeping the game competitive, probably has to have a big game. So Portland is just a mess. We'll have to keep an eye on that news, and obviously massive blowout risk on the Golden State side. So probably going to lower the ownership on those Golden State guys because everyone probably thinks this game's going to blow out. If Portland can somehow keep the game competitive, I think Steph's a decent tournament play. Jordan Poole at 5'9" has been playing pretty well of late. He's been getting over 30 minutes. I kind of like him at sub 6K. The rest of the Warriors, no one stands out in like a 15-man rotation. Orlando and Sacramento. So Cole Anthony, if you played him last slate, you're probably not too happy about his performance. 9 fantasy points in 27 minutes. So I feel for you. Guy's been going for like 40-plus every single game. 9 against Golden State. He gets a good matchup here against Sacramento, so I think he bounces back here. Do kind of like Cole Anthony at 7-6. The two bigs are both in play in a decent spot here. Carter Jr., Bamba. Carter Jr. probably a little bit safer. Franz Wagner should play big minutes, but feels priced about right. God, Can Gary Harris stop getting 20-plus fantasy points every single game? Can he just stop? Like, I don't want to play Gary Harris, but I think he's an okay value play because he's playing big minutes. Terrence Ross at 3-6, probably plays about 20 minutes on the bench. You can always take a shot at him. He is scoring dependent. On the Sacramento side, there's not a ton of love here. Fox feels priced about right. The guards on like Halliburton and Hield don't stand out to me. I think Holmes is probably my favorite option. We probably get about 30 minutes from him, an energy big. Keep an eye on Harrison Barnes. He is questionable. If he can't go, should open up more minutes for guys like Metu and Bagley. One thing I will mention with Harrison Barnes out, Terrence Davis has played 30 and 29 minutes last couple of games. If Barnes is out again, Davis starts, I think he's a decent value play. Now, I'm not sure he goes for 35-plus fantasy points again, but like he's a decent point per guy, good scorer. So just keep an eye on that one. Terrence Davis would be a potential value if Barnes can't go. And finally, Boston, the Clippers. So Tatum's price is up, but I don't think Jaylen Brown plays. So I like Jason Tatum again. Even at 10-6, he was definitely underpriced tonight, but I still have interest in him at the price. Horford at 6'8", we probably get about 30 minutes from him. I think he's a fair play. Once again, I like Schroeder. He's going to have to play 35-plus minutes. Going to be the number 2 on offense. Marcus Smart's solid, a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. Robert Williams had a nice start in the first half. I think, we'll see how many minutes he plays, but if we get 25 to 30 minutes from him, I think that's a pretty good price. And then Josh Richardson, 3.5. I look again for value. I think we probably get mid-20s minutes from him off the bench. And finally, the Clippers. So can I just ask, why on earth is Paul George 10.7K? Like, why is his price not coming down? He has not gone for 50-plus fantasy points now in like 3 weeks, but DraftKings just moves his price up. He was 9.9K, went for 41 fantasy points, then raised him up to 10.2, 35 fantasy points, then 10.3, then 10.2, then 10.6, and now he's 10.7, and he continues to go for like 35 to 40 fantasy points. Reggie Jackson, always in play for tournaments. Probably the number 2 on offense, but still is a low floor if he's not hitting his shots. The rest of the Clippers, I don't know. Zubac, sure. Ibaka was basically out of the rotation last game. I think Zubac is okay, but I still don't trust his minutes. Morris, I think, is a relatively safe play. The minutes are way down in Bledsoe, so Kennard and Mann playing a little bit more. 4K and 4.2 for both these guys are okay values. But right now, I just don't trust this Clippers rotation like at all. Again, Ibaka started a couple games ago, played 29 minutes and then 7 minutes last game. Hartenstein probably continues to play the backup 5 and play around 15 minutes as a large field contrarian play. I think you can go there. All right, guys, that was a lot of talking from me, but that is going to do it for the video. So if you haven't enjoyed the content, again, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Again, you won't see my face for the next few days here. I'll be back Monday with videos up on Tuesday. So good luck if you're playing this 13-game slate, guys, and I'll see you in just under a week.